Hello everybody, what's up? CaptainTurbo here, and welcome boys and girls to another Let's Play. And one I did not play as a child, but one that I did have a interesting connection to as a child. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and children who should not be watching this, welcome to Decap for the Sega Mega Drive / Genesis. Also was a different game, I believe, in Japan, something about Magic Carpet or something, I believe. It got a redesign once it left Japan. I never played it as a kid. I never had any intention of playing it as a kid. The only time I played it was part of the Sega Mega Drive collection, or I believe it's called that for the Xbox 360, but it was only to get an achievement. But my actual experience with this was the actual strips in the Sonic the Comic. So we're going to change a couple of things here. We're going to change it up to free life, which means I can get hit basically a bunch of times. It makes the game a little bit easier. But yeah, I grew up with this in the Sonic the Comic strips written by Nigel Kitchen, I believe, as well as the design. So what do you do in Decap? Well, first of all, we have this power up here. We have Head, Chuck and Head. Head can be used as a projectile. It will wipe out more or less everything apart from bosses with its attack. Unfortunately, if you do get hit, like you just saw there, you will lose Head. Never a nice thing. And unfortunately, you can only get him in certain places around the level as well. You can do this in any level, of course. He'll be hidden in certain statues. You also saw the things in statues. We saw some potions. All potions have different abilities and powers. We'll show them off a little bit later. There's also some coins as well. I can't for the life of me remember what they do. I apologize. Also, statues will also contain some hearts. As for attacking enemies, of course, as I already mentioned, we can use Head. Also, Chuck has this, like, ramming headbutt attack, I guess you could call it. I'm not really sure, as you can see here. Also, most enemies can be jumped on top of, very much in a Sonic-esque or Mario-esque fashion. Obviously, if enemies have spikes on their heads, don't do it. Some underwater enemies also can't be hit underwater as well, which is a bit of a pain in the ass, but it is what it is. But that's pretty much it for the attacks and stuff. Like I said, there is potions. All of them give you different abilities and powers. Usually they're temporary though, so I would seriously suggest saving some for the bosses. The game overall is actually not that difficult. The difficulty from this game primarily comes from certain bosses. But it's a fun little game, and the first time I played this properly through to the end, I was astounded by how good the music actually was in this game. I have to say, it blew me away how good this music is, and I was surprised. I've heard good things about the game, and that's stage 1 done, by the way, but I never properly played it. It seems to be one of those that's sort of middling on this track. By the way, I love this track. I like the fact it's not completely known. Like a lot of people say, oh, it's one of those everybody knows about. I don't actually know anybody apart from myself who's played this. And there probably is somebody in my group of friends and acquaintances that has played this over than myself. But obviously I'm more of the Sega guy anyway, but even I'd never played this game back in the day. And like I said, I grew up on Sonic the Comic. I knew of these characters. I knew of this world sort of thing. Obviously, this game's set in Transylvania in the comic. The professor was actually a Welshman that was pretending to be from Transylvania. It was actually a really fun comic strip. If you've never read it before and you're not into Sonic, Decap was actually, I think, like the second most popular Sega franchise in that Sega strip in that comic book. Because they used to do like strips on all Sega franchises and stuff, but Decap was the one that lasted the longest apart from like all the Sonic stuff, so... I should point out, there is a lot of momentum behind Chuck here, so you want to be careful with that. The best thing I can suggest really is always just have yourself ready to attack with your headbutt or head if you still have them. And I seriously wish I could remember what the fuck the coins were for. Oh wait, I remember what they were for now. So basically at the end of each, I'll call it zone, so you have levels and then you have zones, like say Sonic for instance. At the end of each zone, not each level, you'll basically be given a little mini game where you can earn power-ups, you can earn extra lives and shit, and The more coins you have, the more chances you have at this little mini game, essentially. But you'll see that probably, I think, by the end of the part. Maybe next part, I'm not sure. But that is stage 1-2 done. I can promise you right now, this was not a perfect run through. I had some serious issues with a couple of the bosses, so just to bear that in mind. The one thing I don't like in this game, there is... Oh, and that little noise effect there, in each third stage, which is the last, usually the last level in this zone, there's a specific item you have to pick up in order to finish the level. So even if you beat the boss, but you don't have the item, you can't leave the level. You don't have to take on the boss again, but you will have to search for the item in order to leave the level. I believe it's supposed to be part of putting Chuck back together, I think, in the cutscenes. But thankfully there is one good thing about this, or rather one half-decent thing about this, is the mandatory item is always in the same location. Even if you die, even if you're restarting the game, it doesn't matter. It will always appear in the same location, so as soon as you've learned that location, you pretty much know where they are. Thankfully that one's right at the beginning as well, so you're probably going to see it straight away. So I should also point out, Chuck also has a bit of a flutter jump, similar to Yoshi in Yoshi's Island. As soon as you're falling, start pressing the jump button, and you can pretty much float down to the ground safe and sound. It does make, like, leaps of faith a little bit easier to deal with in this game, just because obviously sometimes you can't see what's below you, but you know, you're allowed to use your flutter jump in order to gain a little bit of security behind where you're going to land. It's not always great because, again, leaps of faith just aren't a good game design. I'm going to be honest, it's something I don't really care for. But as you can see here, if you get enough running momentum at the beginning here, you can actually skip a good chunk of the level by the end. As you can see, oh, so I should point this out, I was recording this on the on said Sega collection on the Xbox 360. I actually did try and get an emulator for this. The thing is, I kept getting the Japanese one, and that was like one-hit kills, and that's like, yeah, that's not happening. Anyway, our first boss here. Don't know the name of these bosses, to be fair. This guy's pretty simple. He's just going to charge at you occasionally, and then he'll throw his thing at you. You can duck with Chuck, I should point that out as well. Thankfully, this one's pretty much a cakewalk. Just learn the pattern, and you can start hitting him with your fucking headbutt attack. Thankfully you are tall enough to jump over him, and sometimes there's no actual touch damage as well, which is nice. It's not always true, but it does feel like sometimes the game will take pity on you. When the boss starts to change color, you know you're pretty much on like the next phase. They'll start moving a little bit faster, their attacks will move a little bit faster. And when they start flashing like that, it means the boss fight is over with. And there you go. That's the first zone down. But you actually don't just finish there. You have to actually exit the level, which I actually forgot about at this point. I was thinking, okay, is the level going to end? And then eventually... I should point out, this is not live, by the way. This is post. This is a post-commentary Let's Play. Extra heart. Easy to miss this part, by the way. But yep, that is the end of the first level. And this is what you get the coins for, like I said, 5 pass. You can... I like to just put one on each, because that way I know I'm guaranteed to get at least one up, so... Then you'll get to the bonus game itself, and you just basically gotta press A. So, you have the lucky thing, which is the 1-ups, you have the 2 traps, pit traps, which are nothing, and then you have 2 potions, of course. And a 1-up. Like I say, you always guarantee, if you got at least 5, you're guaranteed at least 1-up. And during each... Apparently, this dog's barking, my phone's going off and everything. During each cutscene, or at the end of each stage, you'll have a new section to get through there. A new little cutscene, I should say. I'll pause there. I think I was trying to pause to make sure I had like a good stopping point, but obviously we're only 10 minutes in, so that didn't actually end up going as well as I'd hoped it would. So we have swimming mechanics. I actually hate being underwater for this game because it's just such a pain in the ass. Some of the enemies are a pain in the ass to deal with underwater. There's one in particular I'll point out later that I hate, but for the most part, swimming is fine. It's just getting attacked underwater, which is a pain in the ass more than anything. Also, this is more of, I'm not sure if this is accurate. Obviously, level 1 of each zone is, you know, a traditional, like, left to right sort of thing. Get to the end. I swear level 2 are usually vertical, so, you know, you're going pretty much from top, bottom to top. Or it's just, and stage 3 are, I don't want to say maze-like, but it's definitely not linear, I guess you could say. There's a lot of different twists and turns you can take. So it is nice, there's a lot of variety actually in the game as well. Also, I'm not entirely sure where this will be sitting, like, in terms of Let's Plays. So this could actually be the 101th Let's Play if my current schedule is correct. If so, welcome to the fucking Post 100 Let's Plays, I guess. Interesting way to start off with a, I wouldn't say this is an obscure title, like I'm pretty sure a lot of people know about Decap Attack, but it's definitely a lesser known Sega game. Which is a shame, I actually really did like this when I was recording it. It took me a couple of attempts. I was actually originally going to pick this for a race, but there's just one or two bosses in this that are a bit unfair, so it'd be like, I'd have to allow save states, and then it's like, yeah, I don't want to go around doing that. Also, these are not the enemies I hate, but they're definitely an annoyance at times. I'm trying to hit them anyway. I swear to God, the timing on these fuckers is a pain in the ass. Thankfully, just touching head will actually kill them though, so if you can get it off screen and right into the corner like you just saw me do there a minute ago, you should be fine. We will show off the potions, as I said, at some point, so I can show you what they all do. It will show you in the menu, because there is a menu for this game as well. It's actually quite similar to Mega Man in a way. In your ability to change, to pick different sub-weapons. Here you get to pick different potions with different effects, as I said. That'll probably be the next part though, because like, there's less than a minute left here, so I'm definitely not showcasing it in this part. I do like the aesthetic, I have to admit. I wish there was a little bit of animation in the background, but apart from that I really like it. Like maybe if the clouds were actually moving, or something like they do in like Sonic has like the waterfalls and the lakes and stuff with slight animation, but it's a little bit too static here for my taste. But apart from that, it actually looks really nice. Yeah, guys, that's going to be the end of part 1 because we're going to finish the level off. Thank you very much for watching. I will see you in part 2. But until then, boys and girls, sayonara.